Hey everyone, Theo here. Today I'm reviewing the Parblo Intangbo X7 pen tablet that's designed for creating digital art. First of all, disclaimer, this is a review unit provided by the company, and in this video I just want to present to you my findings so that you can decide whether or not this is worth the money. And this is priced at US $54.99. Alright, let me give you the bottom line up front. The drawing performance of this tablet is good enough, except for the slight wobble with diagonal lines. So the wobble may or may not be visible depending on what you draw. If you are drawing character art, the line wobble is not that obvious. But when you're drawing straight lines, such as when you're drawing buildings or things in the background, maybe the line wobble can be seen if you're looking out for it. And now on to the full review. Let's take a look at the items included in the box. So there is a cushion for the tablet, some instructions written in Japanese and English, stickers, one artist glove, microfiber cleaning cloth, 5 replacement pen tips. This is the pen case that is made with PU leather material. Warranty info and the manual. A USB-A to USB-C cable, and this is a USB-C to USB-A adapter. And here we have the pen. So as you can see, everything is color coordinated, including the box and the stickers. This is the Parblo Intangbo X7 pen tablet. This is not a wireless tablet, so you will have to connect this tablet to your computer using the included cable. This tablet is available in 3 colors, black, pink, and green, and this is the pastel color scheme. So this design looks fun, and I'll say this design is targeted at teenagers and people who are looking for a fun design, a design that is not that serious. This tablet is made with plastic and the overall build quality feels solid enough. This knob allows you to switch the drawing mode to different devices, and when I turn the knob here, it doesn't point to the 4th drawing mode, the customized mode. There is a wheel here and a button in the middle that allows you to switch the shortcuts for the wheel. And there are 5 hotkeys by the side, and the buttons have good feedback. This tablet is quite thin, and that's the USB-C connector. So all the corners are rounded off and all the edges are beveled. The back has 4 rubber feet with good grip on the table, and this is matte textured, just like the drawing surface. And the active drawing area is 7.2 inches by 4.5 inches, and this is, I would say, a reasonable size for drawing. Personally, for me, I would prefer a 10 by 6 inch drawing area, but 7 by 4 is still alright. The design of this pen is quite different from the more serious looking drawing pens. This is a rather prominent circular plate with the brand on it. And this is the nib remover, which you can remove quite easily. And if you unscrew the back, you can find 3 more replacement pen tips. This is not an eraser. The pen has a big silicone grip which is comfortable to hold. These 2 side buttons are customizable. The pen supports tilt and slightly over 8,000 levels of pressure sensitivity. There is minimal movement with the pen tip when it's in contact with the drawing surface. The pen tip provides a nice tactile drawing experience on the surface, and this is not slippery. Let's see what you can do with the driver, and this is the Windows driver. So this is where you can customize the pressure sensitivity of the pen. Even though there are 3 control points, you can only move the one in the center. And here you can customize the 2 side buttons. For some reason, right mouse click can only be set to the button further away from the pen tip, because right mouse click option is not available here for the button closer to the pen tip. macOS driver does not have this problem. There is this Windows Ink settings here, which you may have to toggle on or off if pressure sensitivity is not working as expected. If you want to use the pen tablet as a mouse, you can choose relative mode instead of absolute mode, which is on by default. For area settings, you can probably leave this as default unless the aspect ratio of the drawing surface area is very different from the aspect ratio of your display. And the key settings is where you can customize the 5 hotkeys and also the dial. If you are using a dual display setup, the switch display shortcut does not work because the shortcut is actually Windows key and P, which is not the actual switch display shortcut. If you want to enter your own keyboard shortcut, you can enter them here and have a name for it. Up to 6 shortcuts can be customized for the dial. And you can use the button in the middle to switch between the shortcuts. And you can also input your own keyboard shortcuts. There is no rotation shortcut, so if the drawing app you're using does not support keyboard shortcuts for rotation, you will not be able to enter the keyboard shortcut here. If you hold down the middle button, you can see all the shortcuts that you have programmed into the hotkeys. And when you press the middle button quickly, a pop-up will appear to show you which shortcut you are currently using. Time for some line tests. So this is how thick the brush really is. And we are going to take a look at the initial activation force. So right now I'm trying to draw the lines as thin as I possibly can. And I can draw those thin lines, but I can also see slight wobble with the diagonal lines. And I'm actually drawing at above average speed. The last line is straighter, and there again is some wobble. Let's see how the lines taper. The lines taper very nicely, smoothly, and sharply. This is the transition from thin to thick. What I'm looking for is whether the pen can go back to drawing the extra thin lines after drawing the very thick lines. And this pen is able to do so. Now do note that these are diagonal lines as well, and you can again see slight wobble. Let's draw some dots. No problem with drawing dots. This is tilt sensitivity, and the shape of the cursor can follow the direction of the pen. So let me draw a broad horizontal line, a thin horizontal line, a broad vertical line, and a thin vertical line. You can use tilt for shading, and tilt can work with pressure together. Let's talk more about the drawing experience. So I have a 16-inch laptop here, and the drawing surface area of this tablet is 7.2 by 4.5 inches, which to me is on the smaller side, but this size or this area still pairs well enough with a 16-inch display. If you have a display that is even larger, then there may be some size discrepancy. And what I mean by that is when you draw a short line on the tablet, it's going to translate to a much longer line on your screen. So that will take some time to get used to. Let me just undo. So the shortcut button works well. The cable is 1.5 meters long, so I can actually have the cable go to the back of the laptop to this USB port by the side. The app that I'm using is Medibank Paint Pro. So earlier on, I mentioned the issue with diagonal line wobble. So let's see if that problem is going to show up when you are actually drawing with the pen tablet. And from what I can see, it looks fine so far. Okay, let's draw some slow diagonal lines here. Okay, this is much slower than I usually draw. And the lines look smooth enough. Yep, the lines look smooth enough. So it's one thing to see the wobble when you are testing, when you're doing the line test, but when you are drawing, do you see the wobble? And from what I can see, the line quality is pretty good. I want to increase the brush size to show you how sensitive the pen is. Okay, so if I want to draw thin lines, I can do so. Press down harder to get the thicker lines. Okay, this is nice. Let's join the lines here. So I managed to join the line smoothly, which is good because I know how much pressure to apply to get the same width. So after you are more familiar with the tablet, you will know exactly how much pressure to apply to get the width that you want. Yeah. So I'm definitely able to work quite quickly. I am not using the hotkeys on the tablet, by the way, because I'm using the keyboard shortcuts. Because I prefer using the keyboard shortcuts that I have. Let's draw something more angular, something with more diagonal lines. So I'm trying to draw a building here. Let me zoom in. Yeah. So this building has lots of diagonal lines. So I want to see whether I can draw straight diagonal lines, because earlier with the line test you can see the lines, they wobble. Yeah, the pen is quite sensitive, so let me just reduce the brush size. Or perhaps I need to adjust the pressure curve. Okay, notice this line here, this is quite straight. Now, if you need perfectly straight lines, you will have to use the Shift key to get those straight lines. I think the lines look straight enough for me. Yeah, so let me draw this here. Let me reduce the brush size further. Okay. The lines are not that wobbly, but you can definitely see slight wobble. It's not the very, it's not very repetitive. That's the main thing here. If the diagonal lines look repetitive, then that is a problem. But from what I can see, the lines, they look alright. I like the drawing surface, the matte textured drawing surface of this tablet. I don't like the diagonal lines that I drew earlier, so let me just redraw this. Okay, I can still see slight wobble, and I'm drawing this pretty quickly. So if you need to draw like diagonal straight lines, this is something you need to take note of. Let's have more diagonal lines on the top. Let me just zoom in closer for you to see. Yeah. So this looks straight enough for me. So I guess the technique does matter. Of course, the technique does matter. Let's have diagonal lines by the side. Oops. Okay, this looks alright. This was drawn with Clip Studio Paint and the lines came out alright. So this is the performance you can expect with the other drawing apps as well. Let's look at the performance you can expect when using the Parblo tablet with an Android device, which can be an Android phone or Android tablet. The first thing to note is both devices have to be used in portrait orientation, because if you use both devices in landscape orientation, the mapping or the coordination will be off. For example, if I draw a horizontal line on the Parblo tablet, you can see it's actually a vertical line on the Android tablet that I have here. So both devices have to be in vertical orientation. You can use the knob to switch or change the orientation, but even so the coordination will be lost. So it's best to use both devices in portrait orientation. Now, there is no touch support here, so you will not be able to use your finger gestures for pan, zoom, and rotate. So everything you do on the tablet, like you will have to use the pen. For example, if I want to move the canvas, I will have to switch the tool to the pen tool to move this around. And if I want to zoom, I will have to use my finger. You know what? Let me just draw or write something. If I have to zoom, I will have to use my finger on the Android phone or Android tablet. I cannot use my finger on the Parblo tablet. Okay, so there is no... Let me just undo. Yeah, if I have to undo, I will have to use the undo button on the Android device as well, because the hotkeys do not work and there is no driver to customize the hotkey, and there is no driver to customize the pen, the side buttons, and the pressure sensitivity. So let me move this out of the way. Let's look at the pressure support. There is pressure sensitivity, but remember there's no driver, so you cannot customize the pressure curve. There is also tilt support, which actually does not work well. So right now I am drawing the thin lines. If I tilt the pen, I can draw the broad strokes. And sometimes if I hold the pen vertically, I'm still drawing the broad strokes. Yeah, see? I'm holding the pen vertically, but I'm getting those broad strokes. So tilt doesn't work that well. The drawing performance, and more importantly the drawing experience, is not ideal when you use the Parblo tablet with an Android device. Alright, to conclude, this tablet looks good, the build quality is reasonable, and the drawing performance is alright, except for the issue with the diagonal line wobble, which is actually not too bad in the sense that I'm still able to draw what I want to draw. It's just that sometimes I may have to undo. Now there are pen tablets that have more noticeable diagonal line wobble, and for those tablets you really have to work around that limitation. But with this tablet it's not at that stage yet. So that's the only thing that affects drawing performance. Other than that, I kind of enjoy drawing on this tablet. Another downside is with the design of this pen. So sometimes I like to hold the pen this way further at the back so that I can draw the extra thin lines, and this circular plate here gets in the way. Alright, overall I would say this tablet is good enough for beginners starting on their digital art journey, and also for casual drawing. If you guys are interested to get this tablet, you can check out the purchase link that I have for you in the video description below. I hope this review is useful. See you guys again. Bye!